And we are once again live. Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, happy time zone wherever you might be. And I'm Emma and welcome back to the House of Hubris here on twitch.tv/Saracent. We're in face view just while I chat for a second. Emily saying hi before I get in all these meetings. Well, hi. Enjoy the meetings, question mark. Yeah. Obviously, we've had a few days break, because I just keep on having hiatuses. I think that should be the last one for a while, touch wood. I was in surgery last week, so Thursday and Saturday were kind of a write-off. Because I love you all, but no way I'm sitting here and talking for 3 hours the day after I get surgery, so what are you gonna do? Yeah. And also, I was starting over here because I thought we would actually watch the opening cinematic for Murder by Numbers, because it's cute, and I have, in theory, solved my capture problems. So we should be able to actually see it. And let's see if the music for it gets my stream struck. So if I press this button, we have nothing. But then I press this button. Close enough. See, wasn't that adorable? I just think that's a very pleasing opening video, and has very much the vibe I try to go for. So yes, we're back on Murder by Numbers. We will one day finish this game. We're halfway through. We have finished case 2, in which the guy was totally poisoned, and I called that, like, in 1 second. And we downplayed that trying to kill someone but you didn't realise he was already dead is still attempted murder. But hey, what's a little attempted murder between friends? Yes, also on the note of me having just had surgery, if I move to my left at some point and then either swear loudly or appear to briefly lose consciousness, that's because my surgery scar and the armrests on this chair are at, like, exactly the same level, so I have to keep over this side. I say my left, I think I'm flipped. It still looks like I'm pointing to my left on there. Okay, good. Should we just get back in on this? Case select. Case 3, if the shoe fits. I don't care about my old autosave. After the Starshine Awards, things changed. I've been through plenty of change already that summer, but this was different. This was big. But I guess change is hardest to recognise when it's happening to you. True fact. Felt like an eternity ago that I left Ryan and struck out on my own. He'd told me back then that I'd end up living with a robot. Well, let's just say that was never the plan. Because if it was, you would be a crazy person. I didn't know why that stranger thought Scout was dangerous, but the more time I spent with him, the less I believed it. So we just carried on like everything was normal. We watched films, visited museums, and Scout devoured the public library 5 books at a time. Like, metaphorically, or did he actually? Yes, that was the last thing of the last case, was Jenna turned up at our apartment being like, hey, maybe don't trust the robot you found in the Giant Keep. Bye. Oh, and for anyone expecting these characters to have consistent voices, once again, it's been like a week since I played this last, so rip. And my voice is sounding a little bit croaky today, not sure what that's about. Apologies. For a while it felt like progress, but deep down I knew I was running away. Running from Scout's past, and from my future. But I couldn't run forever. Lots of just captions here. Stop front-loading the text. Oh, good morning, Honor. Morning, Scout. Get up to much last night? I read the final 3 volumes of the Encyclopedia Totalis. I think my favourite was Zirconia. They're so pretty. Now we just need to think of a way to get those encyclopedias back to the library before they realise we took them. Yeah, don't take the reference books from the library, guys. Also, I read that Julia Child book that you've never opened. Hey! I was going to get around to it. At some point. Anyway, I spent the night trying to perfect the French omelette. Here, I made one for you. Huh. I can get used to this. Oh, hey Casey. How did your date with the perfume guy go last night? It was the 3rd one, right? Did you... Weird way to open the conversation, but sure. Wait, is that why you're calling me at this ungodly hour? Because you're doing the walk of shame? You hussy, tell me everything. Oh, my god. Okay. Calm down. Calm down. Where did you say you are? Got it. We'll be there as soon as we can. Scout in eavesdrop mode. What's up, Honor? It's KC. Is he okay? He's fine, but it looks like he's just found himself at a murder scene. Okay. I guess probably... I don't know how they're going to play it, but I guess content warning for probably 90s era homophobia, possible queer bashing? Great. Fun times. Take care of yourselves. Whoa, that's not what I was expecting. Which bit? The giant shoe? Honor? Are my sensors malfunctioning again, or is that a giant shoe? No, your sensors are working fine. Not just a giant shoe either, it's a giant killer shoe. Darling, you're here. Oh, what a mess all this is. What the heel happened here? Scout, babe. If you're going to start making quips, we need to have a talk about timing. I'm sorry. Everyone's favourite father figure. You two. Of course you're here. Just nope. Not dealing with these idiots. Come on, Scout, let's get scanning. Just straight in. No setting of the scene or asking questions. No, just immediately scan with robot. We are not a detective. Oh look, we found a corpse. Right, let's get back into the swing of these. 3121 sounds good. Yeah, that's a log 10. Again, if anybody hasn't been watching this series, I could explain how I'm doing Picross, but it would take a million years too long. And frankly, at this point, I just click things, say numbers that make sense to me, and then it's done. What's that? 9. This is those. That's going to be at least 3, so it goes over there, and that's the 1. This is those. That's going to be the 4, so nothing outside of there. These are both 1s, that's going to be a 2, so that's your 1 there, so that can't go there. So there. That's going to be the 3. Anyway, we're talking crap about Scout for bad timing, and, like, fair, because that was wildly insensitive. But at the same time, this comes straight off Honor being like, oh, look at you doing the Walk of Shame. Oh, you're at emergency. So really, everyone here has bad timing. It's got to be at least 2. It can't be the 3. There wouldn't be space after it. That's got to be the 3. That can't go that far. These ones have to go in there. That's like that. That's the way it is. That's 2. This is just 6. Whereas the 2's going in there. Don't have anything outside of there. The 3's got to be in there. We've got those, not that, so those, not those. Yeah, that would have taken a lot longer if I was explaining everything. Oh, we found the guy's passport. Who were they? Oh, that must be the victim's passport. Let's see. His name is Oliver Laurel. Laurel and Hardy Tribute Act. One-man band. US citizen. Date of birth would make him 26. A passport is an item for traveling to foreign countries, correct? Perhaps he was going on holiday soon? People sometimes use them as ID too, but it is a bit strange that they'd be carrying it here. Is it? Like, real question, is it? I've usually got mine, because it helps to have ID sometimes. And the only other one people tend to accept is a driving license, which I very much don't have. Will I need another passport if I go to another country? I shouldn't think so. Not if I check into the hold of my suitcase, anyway. just casually disregard your personhood. I do not like the sound of that. Okay, so we have a name and an age. And a new thing over here by the fence. Is it going to be like, it's a fence? Right. That's 7 again, so there. That blocks that. 113 would be 7. Can't fit in there, so 3 goes on that side, and that gives us a lot. So 3 has to go in there. Okay, that's the 2, which means the 1-3 has to go in at most 6 here, which gives us those 2. 1-3 is 7 out of 8, gives us those. Which means we have that. That, not that, but then that means that's the 3. And this has to be part of the 4, so it extends at least this far. Right. What's 1, 2, 2, 1? Is that 9? Yes. So that will give us that one and that one. I'm not sure that gives us a huge amount, but here we are. Oh, we need a 1, 2 to fit in here, which is already a lock. That can't go there because there aren't any 3s. That's after something, so it has to be a 1. Yeah, like I say, I am very aware that I just kind of get in the zone and say a lot of numbers that connect in my head. Okay, each 1, 2 is 4, so it has to go on this side. Yep. That's that 2, so it has to have a 1 before it. These are both 1s, so that locks that out. This is a slightly tougher one. Oh, wait. Or possibly I'm being an idiot. I mean, both things can be true. Three has to fit in here, and that's 3, so it can't go beyond there. We need a 1 before the 3, which locks that out, which means that's part of the 2 locks that out. And 4 has to go at least down there. Okay, yeah, no, this is opening up a lot quicker than it felt like it was. I was just missing some key bits. And there we go, and we found... Oh, it's a shoe. Okay, I thought it was like... My brain just had it as an Among Us bean lying down. A sneaker. Whoever was driving the float must have left it behind when they fled the scene. It would appear to be designed for a left foot. Hypothesis. The killer only has one leg. I mean, you might be right, or it might just be one half of a pair. I mean, even if the killer only has one leg, it's probably one half of a pair, because they tend not to sell them individually. The plot thickens. God, there's still so much investigating we can do before talking to literally any humans. And frankly, doing Picross instead of talking to humans is kind of my vibe. What's that? 8 gives us those, and likewise those. That's 9, so gives us those. That's got to be a 1. And then we've got to fit the 1, 2 in this 5, gives us that. That's got to be a 2. And then 5 in there gives us those middle ones. That's got to be a 1, locks that out. Which means the 4 goes that way, and that's a 1. A 2 has to fit in here, gives us that, locks that out, gives us those 5. There we go, that's nice. 3, 1 is 5. Inside this 7 gives us that. Okay. 3 has to go within this 5, this is the middle one. Yeah. These are all 1s, and to fit them, you have to go there and there. Finishes that column. Can't have anything there, but then we knew that because that couldn't be more than a 2. That can't go beyond there. 3 has to fit in there. Not that. That has to go there, so not that. That's there. Okay. I need a 1 there. The 2 has to fit in here, and that means that's the 2. We need the 1 before it, and that finishes that column. That has to go there. Means that there, locks that. The 2 has to be there, because it can't be at the end. And now things start to fall into place somewhat. Disco ball? No, a broken dial, okay. The glass cover of this speedometer has been smashed. One of them must have hit it when the float crashed into the club. I mean, yeah, that does tend to happen in car crashes. Or someone. Perhaps the driver? Certainly possible. Ah, there's so much investigating we can do around here. Why do we even need these humans? Come on. Show me beep. Give me beep. I desire beep. There we go. We found a pot plant. Ooh, this is a bigger one. 12 gives us those middle ones though, which is nice, and 8 gives us the middle one there. What's that? 3s have to push out. That's got to be the 4, so it can't go back there, which also locks these, which is nice, because then that means we have 9 out of 12 is 6. I mentioned I love the puzzle music in this. I mean, I love most of the sound design in this game, but the puzzle music is so choice. 212 is just a straight lock. And then 10 out of this 11 gives us those. That locks that out. That has to be the 3. Lock both of those. These can't connect, so they have to go down there. And we've got 10 out of this 11 anyway, so that goes there. 1s, so that's there. That goes up there. Yes, and now that you've seen the intro cinematic, you'll recognise the basic melody of this particular tune is just the theme song. Or maybe you didn't recognise it, in which case, surprise! I guess. But I always find this particular piece just... It makes the puzzle you're doing feel like it's some kind of dramatic climactic thing, because anime has conditioned me to accept that when the theme music starts playing, something very cool is happening. And somebody's about to get, like, some moment of drama / badassery. Okay, and then 3, 2 is 6, so putting it here gives us those. Uh, 311 is 7 out of these 9. Well, it still gives us 1. Oh, and that completes that column, so that's actually very useful. Yeah, retracted. That can't be there, but we knew that. Oh, we need to fit a 1-1 into there. We can. 2 into there, 1 into there. Nothing there. Can't be that. Fitting a 2 into here has to be there. 3 1s locks that space. Those 3 pushes back to there and can't go there. Blocks that row, gives us that. And that. Tyre? Yeah, a wheel. Okay. Thought it was a bike helmet at first, but yeah, that's a wheel. For once, I actually agree. Oh no. There's something interesting about this tyre. The tread appears to be undamaged, which indicates that the vehicle didn't break before it hit the club. Yep, so this is just straight up a hate crime. Of the victim. Now that you mention it, there aren't any skid marks, are there? We've moved from amateur detective to amateur forensic tech. So they didn't try to slow down or swerve. I don't think this was an accident. I mean, you literally already called it a murder scene. So that gets a big old you think. Anyway, let's talk to people. KC, do you have any other fabulous jackets? Because you're always wearing that one. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's a very nice jacket, but, you know. Babe, isn't it just awful? What the hell happened here? Your guess is as good as mine. I was in the area and decided to swing by. Fran mentioned to me that she'd had the place done up, so I thought I'd take a look at the outside at least. When I got here, well, this is what I found. Fran? I have a feeling that's a name you've mentioned before. I mean, wow, tell me you don't listen to your friend without telling me you don't listen to your friend. Fantasia, she owns this place. She's also my drag mother of sorts. Frantasia is a good drag name. I do appreciate a good drag name, and that's a good drag name. I could not find any records in my database for Drag Mother. Well, yeah, that's because you're on, like, common knowledge, and it's the 90s. Ah, right. How to explain. When I first came to the States, I didn't know anyone. I landed at LAX with a makeup palette under one arm and a head full of dreams. Then reality hit, and it hit hard. I met Fran in a club one night and she took me under her wing. That's when I learned that drag queens would do anything for help with their makeup, even adopt a lost British gay boy. I see. So she is like a mother figure to you, but not a blood relation. But you had to do drag to be in a drag family. Way to make it reductive? I know. It does seem a waste not to use these cheekbones for profit, doesn't it? I mean, this. Look at this outfit. This man basically already does drag at work. I don't know. I think doing makeup on other people is my calling. And a drag family is full of people who need makeup on them pretty much every day, so it worked out. They were my support network back when I couldn't get a job to save my life. Fran and her sisters put me up, kept me fed. Spread the word. Everything I have is thanks to the kindness of queens. Since things blew up with Murder Mystery and the other regular work, though, I've not seen as much of them as I used to. Or should do. And where's Fran now? I called her just before I spoke to you. She's not turned up yet, though. It always takes her at least an hour and a half to get ready. Though, so she's probably mid-beat as we speak. But her club's just been smashed into. Surely she wouldn't spend that long on... Ed likes to draw a line between club life and the rest of his life. Drag only when on the premises. Oh right, Ed's Fran's boy name. Edwin Tinker. Tinker by name, Tinker by nature. He mends metal instruments. He is a man of many talents. No, Tinker's British slang for... You know what, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'd love him to finish that sentence, because speaking as a British person, Tinker is like... It's a very hazily defined slang term. It means, like... I don't know, rascal would be a way I would translate that, for the record. Magellan's kind of a weird name for a gay bar, isn't it? Well, it's not strictly a gay bar. How did Fran describe it? Something like, Magellan's is a port in the storm for those exploring the stormy seas of gender. I messed that sentence up a lot, but hey, we got there. Either this is going to be a very well-written thing, or I'm going to be cringing a lot. That's the family-friendly reason behind the name, anyway. Oh, cruising. Oh, that makes... yeah, okay. Are you a regular? I mean, knowing the honour's... No, not knowing the honour. No, that's me. Knowing the owner's got to be good for some free drinks, right? Fran hasn't owned it for that long. Bar's been here for years, but she only took it over recently. I came here for the big party she threw to celebrate her new venture, but I haven't been back since. Take a look at all these things I just found. Here's the dead guy. We've identified the victim. His name is Oliver Laurel. Don't ring a bell. But then again, I'm not a regular, so I don't know many of the customers. You don't think it could be, you know, a homophobic attack, do you? We don't even know if he was a customer here. It could have just been a random hit and run. I'm sorry, but even if you don't know for sure who the victim is, they drove a giant pride float into a gay bar. I think it's probably a hate crime. Just saying. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Here's a shoe. I'm sorry, babe, my head's all over the place. What are you showing me this for? Okay, but here's a speedometer. Nope, same thing. Okay, but here's a wheel. No, okay. You are not interested in our forensics. Just because you keep seeing corpses and being disconcerted by it. God. Here's a man who's seen a lot of corpses in his time. Let's talk to him. Should known he'd call you. Nice to see you two, Detective Cross. If I told you two to stop sticking your noses in and go home, what are the chances you'd actually do it? I estimate the chance is approximately 0.00001%. That does, however, factor in a small margin of error. Would that margin of error happen to be 0.00001%? Bingo! So it's actually 0.00002% chance. Good to know. I can't even manage to be mad at you two anymore. Fine. Suppose you did a pretty good job last time and the crime scene team just finished up anyway. You can help out. Cause any trouble and so help me God. Do you have any idea what happened? Looks like a fairly standard hit and run. Well, except they left the vehicle behind, so I guess it was a literal run. Also, the vehicle is a giant stiletto. So, on balance, pretty far from your standard hit and run. Yeah, wow, everybody's voices are being a little challenging today. Come on, you can do this bad Luther impression. I need more water is what I need. That's my secret cap, I always need more water. This your first death by stiletto? Again, we're quipping too much body right there. Come on, guys. You don't want me to answer that question. Trust me. Okay, what do we know about this club? I'd have thought that was more of a question for your friend over there. I do not understand. What do you mean by that? He means that it's a gay club, and he, being an old straight man, wouldn't know anything about that. Bless the old, thanks. But you're not wrong, this isn't something I know much about. Wait, you're letting us take a look at the crime scene? Because we already did, psych! Forensics have already been and gone, and I've already inspected the scene. There's nothing for you to mess up. I don't know, interfering with a crime scene after the fact is still not helpful. At this early stage in an investigation, it's important to consider everything. Every piece of evidence, every hypothesis. So sure, knock yourself out. Come back here and show me everything you find, and we'll see what your conclusions are. Do we know anything about the victim? He had some ID on him. I'm surprised Robo-Boy over there hasn't found it yet. I mean, he absolutely has, but we were seeing if your forensics team had done their job. Do we have any suspects at this point? Well, the only person with any connection to the incident so far is that friend of yours. Casey, you don't think he did it, do you? I like to keep an open mind at this stage of the investigation. I suggest you do the same. But he called it in! He did. And then he called you. Are you trying to imply something, Detective Cross? There'll be time for implications later. Right now, it's about finding out as much as we possibly can, no matter how innocuous it may turn out to be. Okay, we'll have a look at what I found. We have ID. Yep, that's the victim, all right. Oliver Laurel. I've radioed his name to the station. They're going to get back once they have more info for me. Okay, shoot. We found this sneaker, Detective Cross. I have a hypothesis. The presence of only a single sneaker could indicate that our perpetrator only has one leg. I don't think that's very likely. But you said we must consider every hypothesis. Did I say every hypothesis? I meant every credible hypothesis. Wow, shut down. The speedo. The dial on the shoe's dashboard was smashed. Indeed it was. What do you think that means? Hypothesis. The driver of the shoe collided with the dashboard on impact. Not bad. Want to keep in mind for sure. And the wheel? Nowhere on the treads and no marks on the floor. Looks like they didn't try to slow down. That's what I said. What do you think that means? Okay, we've pressed every button, and now it moves on. Well, what do you think? I mean, I'm gonna go with definitely murder. It was definitely a murder. The lack of wear on the float's tires, plus the absence of skid marks, point towards that. Really? What about those tires indicates the victim was killed deliberately? Well, they didn't brake, they went straight for the club. Not necessarily straight for the victim. Might have just been in the way. I mean, they still probably would have tried to swerve. You're halfway there. What I'm trying to get at is, it isn't always murder. You have to consider accidental death too. But counterpoint, Detective Cross, is this game called Accidental Death by Numbers? I think not. I see. So, what now? What in the... Oh, it's even worse than I imagined. Fran, oh, it's terrible. Thanks, Streisand, you weren't in there. I'm Detective Cross, investigating officer. I appreciate you've only just arrived, but I'd like to ask you a few questions inside, if I may, miss. You can call me Fran. And sure, let's head inside, shall we? New location discovered, bar. Look, I discovered it, it's there. I can't believe it. Just look at the place. Okay, we've got an officer at the victim's address. He's bringing over some items of interest. I'm gonna wait outside. Honor, you find out what you can from Miss, Tasia. Honestly, just call me Fran. Right. Okay. Honor, perhaps we should take a look around inside too. Yes, we should. We'll get to you in a second. Ms. Tasia, Fran, if you're nasty. Okay, 10 break 2. Yeah, that's already a lock. That's gonna be at least 2. No, it's definitely gotta be the 6. That can't be more than 2. That's gotta be at least 2, which means that's a 4. That's your 7. This column, everything is 1s. And everything after things has to be 1s over here. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we can only have one offset, so that's gotta be in that one. That's gotta be there, the 2 is there, and we have to fit those in there, and the other space is somewhere in there. That 6 can't go past there. That, there's not space before it for 113, so that has to be the 3, which means the 2 is after it, which means it has to be in there. This is another one where there's just not enough space for much variation. That's got to be the 8 separate from that, so it has to push out to at least there. That's got to be a 1. That's got to be a 1. 2 break. 1, 2, 3 break. Oh, this is already a lock. Just clearly my calculating to 15 skills were lacking. That's got to extend, so that's the 5 and that's the 2. There's not enough space for a lot of variation here. Gotta be there and then one of those 2. No 3s, so these are separate. That has to be the 2 to finish. Which means that's a 1, and then there's a 2 in there. Extends there, gives us that, which means we're there. These can't connect, so that's there. And that extends to there, gives us those, but then we could have said that anyway. Nothing longer than a 3 here. Realised that that was a lock anyway. That has to connect, which finishes that column and finishes all of that, in fact. That's there, finishes those. These rows are done. These can't connect, which puts that out. Those are there. That's the 3. This has to extend at least there. That's there, which means this is the 3, which means this is the 2, which I could have filled in from the other side anyway. And then the rest kind of solves itself. Or at least it does to me. We found a pride flag in this gay bar. Oh my god. The shock. Do you think there might be homosexuals here? Just a thought. Did I just... No? Okay, the music's just finished more abruptly than I thought. There are a lot of these flags around, even for a gay bar. I like them. They're so colourful. Do you think I could take one? It would look nice in your apartment. Oh, so you're an interior decorator now? Well, you'll have to ask Fran. Maybe she'll let you take one of the small ones. Just saying. I mean, we all knew this woman wasn't heterosexual, but I feel this confirms it. That was all we could find, was that this bar had pride flags in it. Great. Well, hopefully this will be more use. Well, there goes my no claims bonus. My name's Honor Mizrahi. I'm helping Detective Cross out with his investigations. And I am Scout. Oh, I know who you are. I've been watching Murder Mystery since Casey got the job there. It's nice to have a celebrity in my little club. Actually, you're not the first, but you're the first that's not been on the down low, if you catch my drift. Excuse me, but what is a down low? Oh, right, well, Scout, sometimes people that are gay or lesbian or whatever choose to hide it. And then they come to places like ours to kind of let the pressure off a little, but they try to be discreet about it. I still cannot understand why humans pretend to be things that they are not. Because, once again, Scout, that's a society. It's complicated, doll. Sometimes it's just easier that way. Anyway, I'm Fantasia. It's a pleasure to meet you. If only it could have been under better circumstances. You're the proprietress of this club, right? Sure am, although in some ways it still feels strange to hear people say that. It's not been that long since I took it over, really. Before that I was just your average gigging about drag queen, and this was one of my regular jaunts. Fast forward a few years and I own the place. Life sure is strange, huh? Can you think of any reason why anyone would want to damage your property? None specifically. We normally get on pretty well with everyone in the neighbourhood, even if our customers can be a little rowdy when they leave. Of course, not everyone is quite as enlightened. It's sad, but acts of violence are committed against our community frequently. That'd be my first guess. If you don't mind me asking, why did it take you so long to get here after KC called you? Well, I had to get ready, didn't I? It takes time, effort, and a ton of concealer to look this good at this time of day. Plus, I walked here in heels. Would you normally be in drag this early in the day? Hell no, drag hurts. I wouldn't normally come to the club until late afternoon. I tend to at least get a basic beat and look together before coming here, see, and then I only have to top it up or do outfit changes during the night. This is a basic look. Yeah, you don't know much about drag. Oh, honey, you don't even know. KC looks terrible. He's clearly really worried about you. He's a sweet one, isn't he? You know, it's thanks to him that my makeup is so flawless. He taught me a lot. Yeah, he mentioned you helped him out when he first got to LA. He was lost. I could tell the second I saw him. He just had this air of someone who should have filled the room with their presence, but they were holding back. First I assumed he was a wannabe queen, but it wasn't that. He was anchorless. So I figured I'd help out, just like my drag mother helped me. I'm glad you did. I didn't know where I'd be without KC. Actually, scratch that, I do know where I'd be. Still stuck in a toxic marriage. Well, that sounds like a story. Okay, but my marriage aside, here's the victim. We found a passport on the body. His name was Oliver Laurel. Oh, the poor thing. Yes, I know him. He'd been coming here regularly for the past few months. First he was fairly quiet, blended into the background, but Oliver seemed troubled. I got the impression he was working a lot of things out. Some people start this journey with more baggage than others, if you catch my drift. Anyway, come on, Anna, hurry up, I need to talk to Fran. Okay, sure, just, we were trying to interview, but sure. You're damn right you do, mister. Only way I can get you to visit anymore is by getting a hole smashed in the front of my club. Stop that guilt tripping right now and give me a hug. Ouch! What's wrong? Oh, nothing. I just slipped in my heels last week and totally stacked it. Used my arm to break the fall like an idiot. Doctor said it should heal pretty quickly, though. I mean, I feel like they're probably setting her up to be the obvious suspect. But who knows? Maybe in this case that's correct. Detective Cross, is everything okay? An officer just returned from the victim's address. Apparently all of his belongings were just outside in black bags. Let me scan them. I can see if there's anything important inside. With my significance sense. Well, so can our officers, but... no, what the hell. This might be quicker. Straight in. Oh, especially if you give me a 15 right off. That's a lot of information. Love that for us. Three has to go in there. That's that one. Finish the 3. 2 fits in there. Okay, that can't be the 4. There'd be no space for it. It can't be the 1. There's no space after it, so it's got to be a 2. Yeah. those. The 5 has to be on this side. Also, I've just seen 10-3 at the bottom. It's nearly a lot. Gives us those. Let's just set all of this up on the base, which is nice. Those have to divide up like that, and then there's just space for those. Those have to go there, that's there. That's a bunch of it finished, which is nice. That's going to be the 3, so it pushes through to there, gives us that 2 there. This can't go down, because then it'd intrude on space for a 1. Whether it is itself or not. Okay, we can't fit the 2-2 in there, so that has to be a 2. These bits, that's separate from that, so it's the 2 and locks out all of there, which I love. That's got to be the 2, because there's only space for the 1s on either side. That locks that, gives us that, which means that has to be the 1, this is the 2. And then this is the start of the 7, gives us those. Okay, that. Space for those. Leaves the 1 there. That one's finished. This has to have 2 more 1s, so one has to be there. Gives us that and that and that. Is this a book? It looks like it's going to be a book. Right, what do we got? 1 and 1. No. Then the 2 has to fit in there, the 1's in there. There, not there, there. There. That's a book. It's a diary. That should be helpful. We found the diary. And we became an detective. And unlocked a thing. This diary could prove useful. Let me read it. Finished. Analyzing text. There are several mentions towards the end of a person he met here. Fran, does the name Roz mean anything to you? What? Yes, it does. He's referring to one of our queens, Osmosis. Also a good drag name. Honor, are you here? No. It can't be. That voice, that sounds scarily like... Is it our mum? Mum? Yes, yes it is. Don't move. She can't see you if you don't move. There you are. I want a word with you. Not this again. Mom, what are you doing here? What a way to talk to your mother. And after I came all the way down here, too. I didn't ask you to. No, but Detective Cross did. He said you were being detective again, so I brought backup. You what? Really? I was just thinking, how could today get any worse? And then, as if my words have been heard by a malevolent god, here you are. And you know what else is here? Capitalism. Which is also how today can get worse. It's how most days continue to be bad. But that PSA aside, how about we take a break for 3 minutes while I run some ads? Yeah, and we adjust to the fact that apparently Ryan's got to be here and I've got to find that drop register in my voice. Okay, I'm gonna stand up and probably get a bit more water. All of you, do the same. Move around, have a drink, have a snack. Take your meds if you still need to. And I will be back in 3. Love you, see you then. And we're back in the room. Hope your break was good. Mine was spent dying at very, very specific trans jokes. Because that's my life. And indeed my friend group, I suppose. Anyway, Ryan's here. And I said I was going to be preparing my voice for it. I have not done that. Hello, Honor. Goodbye, Ryan. You're the last person I want to see. He's come down here because he's worried about you. Because we're worried about you. When are you going to get it into your head that this isn't any of your business? I can't talk to you while you're like this. I'm gonna wait at your apartment. Come see me when you're being a little bit more reasonable. Oh, Ryan, babe. That was your cue to leave too. You'd like that, wouldn't you? Hard of you to poison Honor against me when I'm right here. You do that yourself, my mans. That cologne could poison anyone at 50 yards, babe. No assistance needed. Will everyone just stop? I don't want to fight, Honor. I just want to talk to you. And if I talk to you, will you leave? I promise. Fine. Casey, go back inside. I'm sure Frank could do with your support. I appreciate you giving me a chance. I'm not giving you a chance. I'm giving you 2 minutes. That's it. I mean, that is a chance. What do you want, Ryan? Just say whatever it is and go. I wanted to apologize to you for what happened at the Starshine Awards. What could you be apologizing for? Maybe for undermining me at every opportunity? Could it be for getting Mum on my case, telling her that I lost my job and that I've investigated Blake's death? Or perhaps you mean for giving Dick Stanford a $50,000 bribe to make sure we didn't win anything, and then lying to me about it. No worries, you're forgiven. I am? Of course you aren't, you piece of... Why did you do it, Ryan? Did you just want to stick the knife in? Yes. That's exactly what I wanted. I was still hurt. I wanted you to hurt too. It was stupid, it was vindictive, and I'm sorry. Well, it worked. You got what you wanted. Congratulations, I guess. I was an idiot. I was only thinking about myself. I've heard it all before about how sorry you are. It isn't just that occasion, petty and spiteful as it is. It's that you tried to make me think that I was the one in the wrong for questioning you. That was the moment I remembered everything you put me through. Please, just give me another chance. Can I just wave this pride flag at him until he goes away? Just like, you have driven me into the arms of the fairer sex. Honor, please forget about all of that for a second. Just listen to me. Okay, damn. Why are you suddenly everywhere I turn now? Believe it or not, the point of getting a divorce was to see less of you. It's just coincidence. I happen to be going to the Starshine Awards anyway. You know Blackstock Holdings invested in that film a while back. Coincidence, right. Definitely wasn't that you wanted to see the effect of your little bribe. Okay, that was part of it. And now here you are. Again. Because your mom's worried about you. She asked me to come down to try and talk some sense into you. And of course, her little golden boy came rushing to help. So that's it. Great. You've said your piece. Now go. No, that's not everything I wanted to say. Your mom's worried, Anna. She thinks you're in danger, that you'll end up the same way as... Don't. Don't even go there. I don't have to answer to you anymore, Ryan. What I do with my life now is none of your business. You're right. It isn't. But I don't like seeing you make a laughingstock out of yourself. Excuse me? I didn't want to show you this, but if you're not going to listen to reason, what choice do I have? Oh, you made me do it. Oh my god, this is just every emotional abuse 101. Ah, and we can't even just be shown a thing, we have to solve it for ourselves in Picross form. I mean, we can do that. This is just how we perceive objects now. That or Scout has just gone, ooh, a thing, let me try. 9 gives us 6 off, which is more than seems like a lot. Okay, it's probably better if we start off with just the acrosses. I mean, that's an 8, so it gives us that 1, and then it's the same over on these ones, so that's nice. That's 8 out of 8, so handy. That's 1, that's a 1, that's a 1, that's a 1. That may or may not be a 1, but it can't go backwards. Which means we have that. What's that? Means we have 4 and this 6 gives us those, and that is the 3. This has to also be the 3, and then that's the 1. And other such vaguely off-key mumblings. Right, if that was the 1, there'd be no space in there for the 4, and there's definitely no space for 4, 2, 1 in there, so it has to be the 4. Which gives us a lot. Still be a 1, 2, that's a 1, 2 fits in there, then these can't connect, so it's there and there. That finishes that column, which is helpful. That can't go in there, that can't go in there, and then neither of those can fit the 2, so that's the 2, but then we knew that anyway, because that's the only thing left. Come on, Emma, keep it together. That's going to be a 1. Now that could still be a 1 or a 2, so could go either way. That's definitely just a 2, and this is definitely just a 3, which is very helpful. Locks out all of that and gives us a lot of information. There we go. Newspaper. Yeah, tabloid article. Although it looks like it's got some kind of wax-sealed scroll. Which I kind of wouldn't put past Ryan. He is that kind of weird macho drama queen. It appears to be an article about our investigation into Blake's death. The headline is, Murder Misguided. It's not exactly complimentary. Let me see that. Without writers to guide her, is Honor Mizrahi losing the plot? Freshly ejected from her role in Murder Miss Terry, Honor looks like she's having trouble separating fact from fiction. Source on the production told us that she tried to investigate the murder of her showrunner, Blake Patterson, and got it horribly wrong. Her efforts led to a fan being wrongly accused of the murder and the real culprit escaping, who later committed suicide. Close friends are worried that without the show to anchor her, she's becoming convinced that she actually is a detective, a delusion that's caused more harm than good. Is this an intervention? I mean, I probably deserve some kind of Picross intervention, but too real game. This kind of press isn't going to help you find another role. People think you're having a breakdown. Do you really want that? What? That's ridiculous. Why did you really show me this, Ryan? I know it wasn't just to make me feel bad. Sharp as always. Come and work at Blackstock Holdings, Honor. I know you're worried about earning enough to keep yourself afloat, but I can help. You're offering me a job. You don't even have to work with me. You can be in a different department, a different office. Hell, I'll open a new office in Cuba if that's what it takes. But I want to help. How reassuring. Well, if that's everything, you'll be on your way now, right? Honor, listen. You know what, fine. I'll go. I need to clear my head after all this anyway. Honor, wait, just think about it. Hit him, Scout. Honor. You didn't hit him, Scout. My head whirled with questions. Why was everyone interfering in my life all of a sudden? How was I suddenly fodder for gossip columnists? Been there. Leaving Ryan was supposed to get me back in control of my life, and now everyone was suddenly trying to tell me what to do? Uncertainty tumbled around in my head as I walked further and further away from the club. Away from where I thought I wanted to be. Until... Huh? The studio? How did I end up here? My body's trying to tell me something. Oh God, what am I doing? Maybe Ryan's right. Maybe this detective turn will make me lose all credibility. It feels like everyone's trying to push me away from this. Are they right? Should I stop being so stubborn? I believe in you, Honor. Scout! You followed me. Yes, you seemed troubled. It's hard to explain, Scout. There is still much about humans that I don't understand. They are so different from things. This. Unironically, this. Thank you, Scout R, non-binary neurodivergent overlord. Things are immutable. They have clear traits that I can observe. Cloth square, rigid pole, rainbow stripes. However, people are different. They have emotions which they can hide or show in different ways. This is hard for me to discern. I can detect basic emotional patterns, but when we first met, I always struggled to understand you. I assumed my routines were faulty, but now, I think this is because you were hiding your feelings. But ever since we teamed up, ever since you started being a detective, I have started returning clear results. The margin of error is now negligible, and the routines all agree. You are happy. I mean, all of these are true. But would it be on brand for me to not pick the last one? I guess I've got a masochistic side then. I do not understand. Sorry, kind of ruined the moment there, didn't I? Oh, but it's not just about how I feel, it's about my future. You saw what the paper said, I'm a laughingstock. They think I'm having a breakdown. Look, the tabloids are going to find something. The tabloids are always going to find something. Didn't you tell Becky that it doesn't matter what other people think of you? You don't miss a beat, do you? I make sure to save important discoveries in my long-term memory. Honor, my creator, didn't teach me much about feelings, but I do know that happiness is a good thing, a thing that people strive for. In other words, I want you to keep going. Because I want you to be happy, Honor. That's some pretty solid logic. It's almost like you're a robot or something. But you're right, I can't tell Becky she should believe in herself if I can't do the same. It doesn't matter what anyone else says, if it's making us happy, let's keep doing it. Yes, this is the logical conclusion. Come on, buddy, we've got to murder to solve. And we teleported back to the bar. I mean, as niche but handy superpowers go, gay bar teleportation, I'd take it. I don't detect Ryan anywhere in the vicinity. Looks like he finally got the message. Well, time to continue the investigation, I guess. Also, don't forget that your mother is waiting for you at home. Great. Location unlocked. Home. Detective, we need to talk about my mother. Guess I should explain. Okay, sure, but first I have to do some Picross. Scout, give me a distraction. Otherwise I will have to talk to this man. And really, who does that in this climate? That's center 2 as well. And that marks that off, which is helpful. This has to be the 5, which means I can only push back one more that way, so it has to take that. I don't think there's any other verticals I can scope at this point. Oh, well, the 3's got to be in that side, so it takes there. But apart from that, yeah, I have to actually look at the horizontals and do maths. What's that? 9, 10, 11, 12. Would give us that one anyway. 4212 is 12 again, right? Yes. Yes. Which gives us that, which marks that off. Right, come on, brain. This should be very doable. But here we are. How much does that make? 7, 8, 9, 10, so that could still be the 3. Oh, what's this? That's 9. Yeah, it is. Cool. So that gives us that and that, which finishes that 5. That joke was funny, once again, to me. And we all know I'm just here for my amusement at this point. Okay, this is very helpful. What's the 2 on 1 there? That's 6. Out of 7 means that has to be a 1, which then locks in those. Very nice. So the 4-3 has to go in here, which is exactly how much space there is. Sweet. Which marks off that, and we already know none of those can end with a 1. That's a 1, so this has to be the 3. There aren't any 4s here, so that does that. Might have all of that. There's that 3. Okay, this is making a lot of sense now. Except when I accidentally delete things. There's actually only enough space for the ones that I've got listed. Come on. There we go. And we've got, oh, broken bottle. Okay, yeah, I can see that now. More importantly, we've got points. These fragments of glass do not appear to be from the window. Their curvature suggests they were originally from a rounded object. Maybe a bottle? It's kind of sticky. Are there any pieces with the label on? Yes, here. It's Sambuca. God, has to be among the gayest drinks to get bottled with at a club. Oh, so that's where that aniseed smell's coming from. Does Scout have a sense of smell? Has this been established canonically yet? I don't know. Hi, detective. Well, come on then. Get it over with. Why did you have to call my mum? She made me promise that I would if I saw you back on a crime scene again. She's a very persuasive woman. Nobody here likes accepting agency over their own choices, do they? I knew this was too good to be true. Difference is I didn't particularly want to this time. I'm done trying to persuade you to leave this alone. I don't like it, but I know when I'm fighting a losing battle. Unfortunately, she doesn't. So what, you're going to call her every time I get within 50 yards of you? That's going to get real old real quick. Trust me, I have no desire to get involved in a family dispute. I just felt like I owed your mum a favour. It's done now. Let's just move on. Huh? Why would you owe mum a favour? Said let's move on. Alright. So, what's our next move? Taking another look out here, see if there's anything we missed. We were looking into Oliver's diary before your mum turned up. Why don't you go ask Miss Fran about it? I like to think that this question is in your dialogue tree with everyone you meet. Just, hey there, random person I met on the street. Or, I don't know, cashier at Tesco. Do you have a problem with drag queens? Just so I know, just for ongoing. Detective Cross, you seem to be having real trouble with Fran's name. Got something against drag queens? Don't be ridiculous. What do I care what clothes someone wears? I'm just new to all of this. Really feels like the next word's going to be a slur. What do I call her? Is it okay to say her? What about if she's not in a dress? My creator also failed to tell me much about drag queens. I think that's a pretty universal experience, Scout. I'm no expert, but I think it's pretty simple. Call them what they ask you to call them. So in this case, Fran, while she's dressed like that, use she. She's dressed in men's clothes, then it's probably safe to call him Ed and use he, although I guess it can differ from person to person. That's a fraught topic. Okay, I think I've got it. Just intense. Concentrate on that memory. Burn into brain. Things never used to be this complicated, said every old man ever. And yes, they did. Also, we found this Sambuca bottle out here. What's that? This glass was mixed in amongst the other glass from the window. I think it was a bottle of Sambuca? Can't say I've ever had it myself. Ah, my mans, you didn't grow up in the aughts. Me neither. Same. Okay, that's all the knowledge that could be gleaned there. Good. Good, good, good. To the bar! Oh, we don't even have the option of going home to talk to Mum. What about Grandmama Krista? How's she doing? Oh, you know her, always falling into some kind of ridiculous anecdote. I'd swear they were all lies if I hadn't been there for some of them. Yes, but that's how she gets you. She takes the weird things you were there for and just banks on that she can make up any old crap. I've been this person, who am I kidding? I'm supposed to be going to New York to see her tomorrow, but what with all this? You are not cancelling that trip. You go, I'll sort all this out. Are you sure? Get as much sorted today as I can. Oh, you are a dear. Yeah, really feeling like she might be our culprit. Mysterious injury, fleeing the scene. I know, but she's family. And who knows how long you got left with her. Best to enjoy these moments while you can. Don't let her hear you say that. You know she's been keeping a brick in her bag ever since Stonewall. I wasn't talking about her. You shady ass, no good. Ah, the Wanderer returns. Sorry, just needed to get away for a bit. Not surprised you needed to reload, babe. You gave him both barrels. I was so proud. You were listening? Yeah, of course I was listening. Until he thought you were coming back in here, at which point he jumped away from the door like a startled cat. It was just your crazy ex, though. I'd have really put him in his place, but I didn't want Fran to have to deal with 2 dead bodies today. Such a thoughtful boy. Anyway, dear, he left something for you. It's over there. Guess I'd better deploy a robot to look for it instead of just seeing where you pointed. It's on a table. Historically, things that are kept on tables are dangerous and should be mistrusted. That's 14, which is nice. That's also a 14, also nice. Means we have to fit 6 and a 9, just those. And other such noises. That can't be the one, so that has to connect there, which means gives us those, which I appreciate greatly. I mean, this is just going to be like a paper thing of the job offer, isn't it? I've screwed something up. Yeah, that shouldn't be there because that shouldn't be there. Okay, right, got that sorted out. 151, that is 9. I love just glancing over to the side sometimes and seeing Scout there. Scout's just so pumped to be here. That has to be the only other multiple. That's a 1. Wait, there's only one way to fit all of these in. And it's with accidental misclicks. It's going to be the 2, that's going to be the 2. That's going to be a 2. That's a 2, so it can't extend through there. How many ones we got to fit in here for? Yes, that's going to be a 1. Means that's the 2. That's going to be the 2, because otherwise there's no space for it, and then the only place for ones is there. The more we reveal of this mystery object, the less idea I have what it is. Because my brain was just telling me, like, Knight's Helmet. Which, frankly, I feel unlikely Brian has left for me. Also, his name's Ryan? I feel it's unlikely he's left me a Knight's Helmet, but frankly, with this kind of person, hard to say, because they could just be like, yes, I gave you a gift, and it reflects my masculinity. And chivalry isn't dead, something something. That's got to be a 1. That fills that out. Then there's a 1 on one side of those. That's going to be there, and that finishes that column. Likewise. And there we go. Has he bought me perfume? Oh no, it's just a coat. Honor, I think this coat might be worth looking at. Or maybe he didn't leave it, maybe this was just also here. That's a pretty odd size. Ew, gross, it's really sticky. Yeah, that Sambuca on your clothes will do that, ask me how I know. Plus, pro tip from me, without going into any detail, Sambuca spilled on, like, pleather vinyl, and then dries before you get it off properly. Looks suspect as hell! That glimpse into my life aside. Perhaps you should smell it to see if it can be identified. Is this really what my life has come to, sniffing sticky things on crime scenes? Yes. Yes, it is. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's aniseed. It must be Sambuca from that bottle we found outside. But there's more to see. But wait, there's more. For every broken bottle, for every coat covered in Sambuca, you get a free insert object here later. What's that? 12. It's those to start with, which is a nice foundation. Six goes there. That's a 2, that's a 3. 6 has to push it out, it's there, 5 has to do there, that can't go that way. This is those, this is that, that. That can't go that way, so we get those, which also wants that out, pushes that up there. And those, that can't go that way. Just any time a thing ends with something other than 1 and then a 1, it just means if you've got a block there, it then can't. You need to remember that it can't extend the other way because it would run into the 1. Is basically it. And really, that's a kind of an abstraction of a bunch of more complex rules. Well, this can't be the 4 because you can't fit a 1, 2, 2 in there. So the most this can go is... Oh, it has to just fill in those ones. Oh yeah, that was literally just a lock for 15 anyway. Come on, Anna, learn your patterns. 3 has to push at least that way, and then that connects and completes 3. No, that is a 1. 1 plus 1 is not indeed 1. Just on here, rediscovering basic maths, really. For your viewing entertainment. Because really, why wouldn't you? I've come to that point in the stream there where not only have I largely run out of things to say, I say things and then realise I don't know what I just said. There's only one way all this can fit in, which is helpful. I can never easily read the locks on ones that are just, here's a whole list of very small numbers. Love very small numbers, that's why they don't have a law named after them. Instead of the old and bust tactic of having a thing that nobody understands. Yeah, I don't know what the setup to that joke was, so I hope the punchline was worth it. What is my brain? If full of care. No, seriously, it's so full of care. I care very deeply. Just about many things. Okay, that gives us that overlap, which locks that out, giving us these, which is useful. Those. Yeah, we need 2 at the start. Back those and those. That can't be the 4, so this has to be the 4, which is nice. And that 2 goes in the middle there. And now my hand is just auto right-clicking, which it does far too often. It's like we're playing Sun Skies all over again. Except this time, I suppose, my right hand at least doesn't have a shotgun. But what it does have is the means to make my plans go wildly awry. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. I just got very confused there for a second. I legitimately forgot how Picross worked. Clearly, I am very on the ball today. Just so. Here is the ball, and here is me. That's how on the ball I am. Basically, for a minute, I thought the numbers were referring to the X's rather than the blacks. And I just did it again and got very confused. I was like, how do I need something to make that 133? It's already 233. We found a laptop. Will we also not be able to connect to this one? Oh. I'd say I just learned an important lesson about, while stretching, staring directly into my washlight. But I think we all know I haven't learnt everything. Oh, it's a portable computer. There's a note attached. With a new job, I spoke to your mum. She's on board. Give it some thought. Right. Using money to solve things as usual. No thanks, chuck it in the trash. I see. Unwanted electronics are to be disposed of. Like me. Scout! That's not what I meant. Let's keep it. Hey, maybe you could use some of the parts yourself or something. An upgrade would be nice. Perhaps I could upgrade my CPU. Ooh. Or maybe replace my screen with a color TV. It's not pronounced fee. TFT panel. Or. That was a close one. Ugh, poor guy. We've already been on, Can Society Stop Gendering him? Come on. Come on, I want to do better. Alright. A little early for us to take our second break, but I do need to move around and do fluids things. So, I will see you probably in about 5 or 10 when we will continue with this, and we've got another hour still on the slate, in which I will probably talk some more absolute crap, and we'll hopefully meet some more awesome drag queens. Alright, love you, see you in a few. And we're back. Everyone, sorry about the slightly longer than planned break. It shouldn't have been, but then somebody forgot to press the run ads button before they went and got a drink, which, you know, I'm not going to say it was Daniel. Also me, I also did not press the button. Cool. I can't remember what I was talking about here. Yeah, that was a close one, poor guy. Nope. Oh god, what was that? Can I see my evidence? Why can't I? Really? Oh, and yes, I can go to my apartment. You just have to go to the other map. Let's just say where we are. Yes, because we found the coat. What else did we just find? Wow, yeah, no, I was not totally with her at that point. Okay, I can see through my present evidence menu in a second. What can I get you, dear? Oh, right, I went into bartender mode for a second there. Evidence, we have the coat. We have a laptop from Ryan for the job. No, I can't remember what she was saying. That was a close one, poor guy, about. Well, I enjoy knowing more than me, anybody who's watching this on the VOD. Or now. Anybody, really. When we were talking earlier, you mentioned something about Roz, the one mentioned in Oliver's diary. Oh, yes, right. Well, I was hoping not to bring her into this, but Roz Moses is one of our regular performers here. She runs a couple of nights a week. She and Oliver, they knew each other. Elaborate. How did Roz and Oliver know each other? Like I said, Roz runs quite a few nights here, and Oliver was a regular. One of the last entries in Oliver's diary read, "She doesn't understand me. Despite everything she hid from me, I'm the one that's ended up in the cold." Well, they always seem to get on fine. I'd often see Oliver talking to her at the end of the night. But then a few nights ago they had a huge argument. Things turned nasty and Roz threw Oliver out. Made me ban him from the premises. Every night since then Oliver's been outside, completely bladdered, as Casey might say. What does bladder? It means he was drunk. Very drunk. He begged to be let in, but what's the use of barring someone if you reversed immediately? So he just stayed out there shouting and screaming at everyone. Wasn't great for business, but like I said, he was a troubled soul. Had he been sleeping out there too? I don't think so. He's certainly never been around in the daytime. Why do you ask? His belongings were in bags outside his apartment, so it looked like he'd been evicted from his residence. Might also explain why he was in front of the club this morning. Was he outside when you left the club last night? Not that I saw, but I lock everything from inside and then leave from the back door, so I wouldn't have seen him if he was there. Yeah, so this is clearly getting it set up for us to think Roz was the killer. Yeah, sorry, Fran. Do you know where Roz is right now? On her way here. That detective of yours asked me to ring her, but turns out she was on her way here anyway. Oh, interesting. Any ETA? Roz comes when she comes. She's kind of a free spirit. About this coat. Fran, is this coat yours? No, I think that's... There's immediately a lot to take in here, sorry. What do you think you're doing with my coat, huh? Oh no, I was just... cool your jets, I was only pulling your leg. Well, I'll be. Sure did a number on the front, didn't they? You all okay, Fran? I'm fine, if a little shaken. When I find you did this, I make them wish they never left their mama's pouch. Oh, Honor, this is Rosmosis, the queen we were talking about. I knew it. I knew my ears were burning. Well, pleasure to meet you. Say, you look awful familiar. Well, I got it. I saw you in Celeb Life, right? I've missed an issue for 10 years. Probably. I don't pay much attention to that stuff. Didn't you say that Celeb Life was garbage for people that don't have lives themselves? Scout! What did that little rust bucket say to me? Anyway, could I have a quick word? Well now, what can I do you for? Hi. You work here, right? Couple of nights a week, yeah. Some nights I perform, some nights I host, but either way, it's full-on Rosmosis. Full-on is apt. You mean the look? Yeah, that's the point. One of our regulars once described my look as like a punch in the face personified, and he was one of the few I hadn't actually punched. Honor, she scares me. How do you know the victim? What? Who's the victim? His name was Oliver Laurel. What? No. I hear you had a disagreement with him a few days ago. Sure was a mess, yeah. To be honest, I don't really know how it happened, but... What was it about? Ollie he was working a lot of stuff out, you know? A lot of people here are, in the beginning at least. He came from a very strict background. Christian, Catholic, something that began with a C. Had a lot of repressed shame, so probably Catholic. His parents kicked him out, and then, well, he came here. I think he was looking for his tribe. How did you end up in an argument? Well, he told me he liked drag queens. He thought he was gay, but there was something about drag queens that tickled his pickle, I guess. Happens more than you'd think. Then, a few days back, he told me that he liked me. Like me. I was flattered, of course, but... Well, I had to tell him that I'm not a dude, and that's when things went south. Wait, you're not... You're a woman. Again, we're treading close to fraught waters, and though this game so far has not done anything deeply problematic, and, I mean... looking the writer up on Twitter, which I did after he turned up in the stream the other time, looks like he has the credentials for it, but at the same time, I'm just bracing. Things about drag culture occasionally be wildly problematic. The concept. Anyway, that made poor Ollie even more confused. I took it the wrong way and thought he was turning me down, which made me see red, and I hit him. Fran thought he'd hit me, so she barred him. We have a very strict policy about any kind of violence or threatening behaviour here. Well, from the customers, at least. I was going to get him unbarred when it had all calmed down, but I didn't get a chance. So, let's explain the concept of BioQueen, shall we? If you don't mind, but I'd just like to make sure I have this totally straight. You're a drag queen, but you're a woman. Sure am. I'm what some call a bio queen, which just means I came out of my mum's IDL with all the female equipment. Again, fraught waters. Like, classic drag culture and actual trans people have some kind of a relationship that I'm not going to try and make this whole stream talking about, because I don't have the credentials, didn't prepare a video essay, and can't be bothered. Wow. Just assumed all drag queens were men. How did you end up doing this? I came to LA expecting to find my fortune in Hollywood. Of course, I was wet behind the ears then, thought there'd actually be parts for someone that looks like me, didn't I? When the truth sunk in, I figured I'd get into comedy. That morphed into performance, which became what you see now. I never really felt much at home with female gender stereotypes, so Roz is my way of taking them to the extreme. Kind of giving you everything at once, you know? That's what drag is. Do you get much work? Although I must say I love her hair colours. Most of the gay clubs won't hire me because I'm not a guy. Seems hyper-femininity is just for the boys, who'd have thought it, eh? Drag culture, often misogynistic. Who could have seen this coming? Fran's been good to me, though. She knew I could entertain a crowd, and that was all she cared about. Alright, actual interrogation time. Could you tell me about your whereabouts last night? Sure, I was working here till about 11:30 PM, then I went straight home. Did you see Oliver on your way out? Huh? No, can't say I did. Only Fran mentioned that he was outside the club most nights recently, and obviously he was there when he... yeah, I saw him out there a couple of times this week, but he wasn't always there, you know, he'd come and go, but yeah, he wasn't there when I left last night. You're sounding very dodge there. So about this coat. You planning on letting me have that back at any point? We detected a large stain on this coat. Most likely, Sambuca. And? So what? Well, then, found this broken glass outside. Oh, probably from a beer bottle or something, right? People are always dropping stuff out there. Smells like Sambuca to me. What are you, some kind of a dog? Not sure what all this is about. I didn't even see Oliver last night. You might want to reconsider that statement. Why is that, darling? Because I think you did see him. Oh yeah, what makes you think that? The coat and the bottle. Found this bottle smashed outside near the crash site. It's pretty clear that it's a bottle of Sambuca. Dramatic deduction music. And... well, we know that was Ollie's favourite drink. Okay, I don't think we covered that. We also know that this coat is yours, and that it's covered in Sambuca. What are you trying to insinuate, huh? Why didn't you come out and say it? Come on, Roz. No good can come from hiding the truth. Okay, fine. So maybe I did see Ollie last night. When I was leaving, he was out there. He came at me yelling about how he'd lost everything, his home, and now his friends too, and that's when he spilled the Sambuca on me, and I saw red, and, well, I might have swung my bag at him once, or twice, so... Why didn't you tell us this earlier? Because it makes me look bad. And it's totally unrelated to that crash. Besides, you ain't even a police officer. No, she's not. But I am. What? I want to talk to you. Get a proper statement. And we'll do it at the station. Given that you've lied to us already, I don't trust you not to tamper with evidence. But, bye! Doing those voices back to back is interesting. Good work with that inconsistency, Honor. I helped too. Listen, while I'm handling this, there's something else I want you to take a look at. Please don't tell me this is more busy work. Oh, no, instead he just has a Picross for us. Okay, that's worth 13. This is those. And that's a good foundation. Can't go that far back. This has to be 4. Which means we have that, which means that's the 4. This is the 6 and comes after a 1, so that has to go up to there at least. This is the 3, can't go before there. This has to be a 2. That's a 1, that's a 1. Pushes the 5 back there. That has to be a 1. Which locks that in. That's part of the 6. Finishes that, gives us that. Right, 3 in there, 2 in there, those in each case. This has to be a 1. That could be a 1 or a 7, so... This has to be the 2, there wouldn't be space for the 4 as well, so can't go past there. 3 there is a lock. Okay. Yeah, that locks there. That's going to be the 2, so that goes across there. There's a 1 somewhere there, but it could be any of those at the minute. That extends. That 2's going to be in there, so that's going to be a 1. That could be either still. Okay, what have we got left? There's only 5 there, so 2 with a lock. That's a 1. That's a 1. Locks that out, gives us those. Appreciate that. 2 in there means it goes there, which means that has to be the 3. That has to be there. Locks that. Gives us those. And there we go. An awards photo. Because awards shows go so well for us. We are now the detective. What? How on earth do you have this? You recognize it? This is a photo of the Miss Terry cast and crew at the Starshine Awards, the year we won Best New Show, but it looks like Blake's face has been circled. I found it in Frank Pritchard's Tully's apartment. I'm convinced there was more to his death, so I've been investigating on the side. It doesn't make any sense. Casey took this photo, he used my camera. And when I got it developed, I gave it to Mum. That's the only copy. So, if Sharon had it, how did it end up in Frank's apartment? Guess the best place to get that answer is straight from the horse's mouth. Don't tell a recorder that, okay? We're telling her. A new mystery. Let's head back to your apartment. Who is just move somewhere else? Never go back. How attached are you to that apartment anyway? Fine. Fine, let's go see Mum. I mean, we could question KC. He's here. But no, apparently. The road takes us ever onwards, and by onwards I mean back to our apartment. And I take a moment to remember. Calm down, have we? Mom. Hi, Mom. Well, are you ready to be civil? I really need to get that key back from you. Over my dead body? Don't tempt me. Well, what was so urgent that you had to come down to the club and talk to me? You know exactly what it is. You're doing this detective stuff again? I'm good at it. You know that Scout and I worked out who killed Dick Jamblood? Dick Stanford. I didn't say you wouldn't be good at it. If anything, that's what I'm worried about. Look, you've said your piece, Mom. You're scared. I get it. I don't take pleasure in causing you stress, despite what you might think. But I can't hold myself back because of you. I'm good at this. I enjoy it. Even Detective Cross has come around. But what if you die? What's the point in being so scared of dying that you don't ever live? Oh, how very poetic. That doesn't change anything. Was there anything else, or was that it? Don't think this is over, Honor. I can't let you make the same mistakes your father did. God knows he had his faults, but... I think the answer to my question was no, there's nothing else. Anyway, about this photo. What are you showing me that for? Don't you remember? This is the photo I gave you from when we won our Starshine last year. I remember, but why do you have it? The real question, Mum, is why you don't have it. I gave you this photo for a reason, because I thought it might finally make you proud to see me successful. Should have realized I was trying to get blood out of a stone. Oh, Honor, stop being so dramatic. Just because I don't agree with most of your decisions doesn't mean I'm not proud of you. I always have been. You are? Wait, I definitely want to talk more about this, but I need to know how this photo ended up where it did. This one, I think I gave it to Ryan. Dramatic music. Douchebag X may have been a bad person. You what? Oh, don't start all that again. It was during the divorce. I met with him, hoping you two could sort everything out. I showed him the photo to remind him how happy you could be. I wanted him to try. He asked if he could have it, and, well, I thought if it might help, why not? So if Ryan had this photo, how did it end up at Frank's? Honor, I think I have made a connection. Yeah, Ryan was the reason that Frank was trying to convince Blake to get us off the show. Ryan hired Frank to blackmail Blake. What makes you think that, Scout? Remember when we hacked into the police fingerprint files? They showed that Frank worked for a private security firm called Lethe Security. Blake has been circled in the photo. Given your mother's testimony, it doesn't make sense why she would have done so before handing it to Ryan. Therefore, we can assume that Ryan wanted to target Blake for something and went to Lethe in order to do so. Doing his own dirty work was never something Ryan was interested in. But why would he hire someone to blackmail Blake? Good question. Here's my theory. To get us fired. Because he wanted to get you fired. Remember the Polaroids we found in Blake's office? They proved that someone tried to get you fired. That bastard! You said that Ryan was very controlling. This could have been his attempt to continue controlling you, even after your divorce. I love his little face when he's sad, I'll be real. I think it's time to set a little trap for my ex-husband. blocky 90s mobiles. God, that was a time. A time that really I only knew tangentially. I don't think I had a phone back when those were the standard. Hey, Ryan, I thought about your offer, and there's just one thing I want to check with you before I accept. Could you come by the club again at 2 p.m? Great. See you then. Now to call Detective Cross. Detective, it's Honor. Can you get back to Magellan's? What? She's not. Okay, we'll start looking for more evidence until you get back. Honor, why won't you wait for me? Sorry, Scout. By the way, I just spoke to Detective Cross. Looks like Roz has an alibi. Oh, hey, who could have seen this coming? So it wasn't her. Nope. So we need to get looking again. Sorry, didn't see you there. Oh, I don't think they're gonna be open today, to be honest. Huh? No, I'm helping out with the investigation. Is that so? Well, don't let me stand in your way. Cool, you're suspicious as hell. Let's talk. Sorry, Mr... I didn't give you my name. You're right. You didn't. Can we rectify? What should I call you then? KG? Is that how you start all conversations, with an insult? You haven't even told me your name. Oh, you're right. My apologies. I'm Honor Mizrahi. I'm kind of a... Well, I guess I'm a private detective-ish. It's not official, but... And I am Scout. Well, Honor Mizrahi, my name is Crispin Hakewell. My god, that's a Dickensian name you've got there. Thank you. And what do you do, Mr. Hakewell? I'm in finance. There are so many British jokes I can make there just from one particular piece of recent political posturing that went so badly. Right. What brings you to the area today? I was in the neighborhood seeing a client. Not a regular here, then? No offense to the clientele, but this isn't exactly my sort of place. But you figured you'd just stop here anyway? I'm just taking in the scene. It's not every day you see a shop front destroyed by a giant shoe, is it? This is a murder scene, Mr. Hakewell. Really? What a surprise. The body over there definitely didn't give it away. Dread to think what this will do to business. It'll certainly cause a dent. Is there a reason you're waiting outside here? I was hoping I might bump into Fran, but I guess she's not around. Probably hiding in her office, drowning her sorrows. So you know Fran then? I thought you weren't a regular. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, Miss Mizrahi, I've entertained this little charade this far, but the novelty is wearing off. Go bother someone else. New location discovered. There you go. We had to talk to him to discover the concept that Fran had an office. Anyway, are you know... We'll be back, Mr. Dickensian name. Is there anybody in the bar still? Oh, and there's investigative meditating we can do. Let's see what Casey has to say, though. Wow, so much drama, it's not even midday. Thanks for sticking up for me earlier, Casey. I hope you don't mind that I told you to stand down. I get it, but... You know, one day I hope you'll really let me off the leash with him. I've been storing up a lot of things I want to say to that slimy knuckle dragger. Trust me, I know the feeling. And we'll get our chance someday. I can't believe he had the audacity to rig the Starshine Awards just to get back at you. What a weapons-grade wanker. One of the most pleasing of British curse words. What's your take on all this? Do you think Roz did it? I mean, you already heard she had an alibi. I mean, the girl's got more issues than variety. I like her, but I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of her. But do I think she'd drive a giant pride parade float into someone? No, she's more reactive than that. She'd just punch him into a fine pate instead. Pate? How refined. It's not refined, you're just American. That is a spectacular burn, KC, and I'm here for it. Anyway, she's clearly a person of interest. She knew a lot about Ollie, especially his recent mental state. Could be important. What are your plans now? You thinking of sticking around? Yeah. I want to see if there's anything I can do to help Fran. Sorting all this out's going to be quite like. I'm still feeling guilty for not being around as much anyway, so this feels like a good opportunity to make amends. And speaking of the Fran, have you seen Fran around? She said she wasn't feeling so great, so I think she went to her office. And that would have told me that the office existed had I not talked to Mr. Hakewell-Tart. Anyway, apparently there's something we can beep here. Oh my god, there are speakers! They play amplified and recorded sound here. The debauchery. The scenes. I'm saying words at this point. At this point. Please, that's what that's just what I do. Not enough space for 112 in there, so the 2 has to be there, which is nice. This has to be a 5, so push that one more. Yeah, I think this plays out. We're gonna have 1 in there, 1, 2, 3 in here, 1 before it, yeah. And I know that it appearing on the number guide confirms that, but I just want to see it for myself. Can't fit 2, 3 there, so it has to go in there, and then both of these extend to there, which finishes that, and locks those out, so that locks that. Locks that row, yes, love it. That means we know what's happening there. And then the only orientation for the rest of these is like that. That's got to be there. That's 5, and that's got to be there. That's got to be 3, and then that's 1, which finishes that column, pushes that out. 2's got to fit in there. Got to be a 1 there, which, because that's a 7, expands, and then all of these are 1s. And then that means the 3's got to fit in those 4, so locks that out. That's the 1 to start. The 4 gets pushed back 1. These are all 1s. Anyway, these have a pair of 1s, so they have to go there. That there, that there. That can't be there, so this has to be the 1. There we go. That's the only space that exists for that. Not that. Come on. That's got to be a 1. Gives us there. That 5 can't go that far, so locks that in there. 2 1s here, 1 of them has to be there. Once again, I realise this is just number soup, but it works. We found the speakers. They amplify music here. The concept. Maybe even vocal performances. Honor, take a look at these speakers. Okay. They're big? Yes, but also, I'm detecting that the voice coil is made of silverware, and the ports are all gold-plated. So they're good speakers. I knew you were such a hi-fi buff. So important about that? Well, I was considering upgrading my speaker system, so I've been doing some research into the various options, and... Scout? Sorry. What I mean is, this is a very high-end speaker. Oh yeah, I think Fran got those installed recently. They weren't here when I came for the handover party. Business must be good then if she can afford these. That was all the evidence was pointing to, was just got good speakers. I mean, I say that's all. Watch it bust, the whole thing won't open eventually. Hello? Fran? Doesn't seem like she's about. So, shall I scan for clues then? With the opportunity right there in front of us, it'd be foolish not to, right? I mean, at this point, are you scanning for clues or are you just nosing around in somebody's private space? But apparently that's what we do now. And we'll start by going through her filing cabinets. Totally cool and normal thing to do on a... what's this? 14. Okay, that's going to be the 4. Yeah. That's going to be the other 4. Gives us those. That's nice. That pushes us out to there. That's your 2. That's going to be a 4, so it goes there. There's still 3 1s. Those are the only places they can go. Sorted. As ever, by the time I finish describing a step, I'm halfway through the next step. Because the brain, she buzzes. You show me a grid of numbers and my brain will be like, ooh yes, thank you for this delicious food. Does it even have to be a puzzle? I don't know. Just show me some numbers. Just getting nerd sniped in the middle of a road by seeing a D&D character creation chart. Editor's note, this joke is based on older editions of D&D. I think it's a lot more streamlined now, but I also don't know on account if I don't play it. I mean, I barely played it back then, but this story is getting beyond the point. Please, when have I ever been point adjacent? If people were coming to a stream to be shown the point, then A, this would be a weird game to find it in, and B, I'd be a terrible person to ask. If you're feeling existential and want to write a deep meditation on the nature of the meaning of life, maybe don't take all your research from Twitch gaming streams. Just saying. Because I'm smart, but I'm not wise. Very different things. 2 on 3, that's 8, which is how much we have. Beautiful. I've caught myself saying that a lot lately. Beautiful. That's a lot. 2 and 3 puts it there, and then those close up. That's a 2, can't go beyond there. Those have to be full. We found a dress? Oh no, it's a PC just at a weird angle. But whatever, Scout's happy about it, so I'm happy about it. I maybe shouldn't be trusting Scout's emotional state quite that much. Honor, there's a computer here. Computer, huh? I mean, it's an office. Should I try to hack into the computer? Well, it doesn't look like Fran's around, so why not? Do we have no sense of just a basic moral code? Just, Honor, get a warrant at least. Jesus. Hacking challenge. 68 seconds to do 3 of these. Challenge accepted. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. It appears that this computer is mostly used for bookkeeping. Anything interested? It's safe to assume that negative numbers are bad, yes? I don't know much about accounting either, but yeah, that seems like a good general rule. In which case, it appears that the club is not doing well financially. For 4 out of the past 5 months, the club has made a loss. So Fran's in financial trouble. Cool, that was a gross invasion of privacy, and apparently we're doing it again. If anything should deign to be... hello? Now we must look at all your paperwork and decide whether that is up to our standards. Who asked us to do this? Nobody. You're welcome. This has to be that too. This is so smooth. That's 7, so we've just got that. And then, because we know the 1's there and half of the 2's down there, we can cut this whole thing. That can't fit in there, it has to be in there. That starts with 3 1s, so that's got to be one of them. And then actually there's only space for those after it, so yeah, it's the 3rd one. This has to be a 4, so... These can't connect. That goes there, and that has to be 4, so it extends to there, locks those down. Shows us where a bunch of this goes. This should now pretty much all fall into place. There we go. We found some letters. Again, why are we just reading this woman's post? I get the feeling that Fran doesn't have much of a filing system. I mean, she's got filing cabinets right there. It reminds me of your handbag, Anna. Since when did you get so sassy? Maybe you've been hanging around KC too much. There are many utility bills, water, electricity, all seem to be settled up to date. Really, I wonder how she paid them when the takings are so bad. Look at these, there's a bunch of rejections from loan companies. Fran was trying to get a loan. Is this just an insurance fraud thing? I'm really feeling like this might just be an insurance fraud thing. Find anything interesting? Fran! We were just looking for a wall outlet. I need to recharge. You know, I would have thought the private investigators would be better liars. Hi, Fran. Let me explain. Or, I love how neither of our options here is to explain. Casey told us you weren't feeling very well, so we came to see how you are. How sweet of you. I'm fine. I was just feeling a little overwhelmed by everything. Then I went to the bathroom and, well, I guess that's when you took your chance to have a little snoop around, huh? Your office is unique. Well, it has to double as a dressing room too, still. I guess that's no excuse for the desk being so messy, is it? If you'd like, I could show you some great sorting algorithms. What's your favourite sorting algorithm, chat? I think that might be fighting a losing battle. Even if I tied it, it'd be like this again in a few days. I'm just not that good at all this admin stuff. Guess that's the side effect of not going to business school. If you don't mind me asking, why did you buy the club? I'd been a regular performer here for years. The old owner, Daphne, wanted to sell it so she could retire to Palm Springs. Or Palm Springs adjacent, anyway. I never really imagined myself running my own business, but some of the other girls encouraged me to go for it. I thought, well, how hard can it be? Cleared out my savings account, and here we are. Guess I was quite naive, huh? Wow. Wish I had that much in savings. Didn't need a loan or anything? I don't see what that has to do... No. No, I didn't. So let's talk about your letters. Found these letters on the desk. There's a bunch of rejections from loan companies. We found those letters on the floor, right? And... well, you said you didn't get a loan. Exactly, that's why they're rejection letters. Then how are you paying your bills? You said that you didn't have any savings. I've just been extremely careful with money, okay? I watch every cent, no frivolous purchases or anything. Like these speakers. Okay, no, we're ignoring that. So about the computer I absolutely didn't hack into. Couldn't help but notice that you might be having some money issues. Yes, things haven't exactly been easy, but we're getting by. Just means I've had to be careful with money. Tighten my belt a little, you know? Well, corset. But you've been losing money each month, and you said that you had no float money. I don't have to explain my finances to you. You aren't my accountant. Have I talked to you about these speakers yet? No? Okay. Something doesn't add up here. And we're not talking about your accounts. Seriously, somebody needs to stop scout quipping. Well, we kind of are, but I admire the commitment to the joke. Scout just like, oh no, I quit bad. Fran, I don't think you're telling us the truth, and to prove it, I have this Phoenix Wright music. That much has been clear for a while, please. Go ahead. You must have some other source of money. We know you've kept up to date with your bills, but the club's lost money every month. And by your own testimony, you have no savings left after purchasing the club. And yet again, I've said that I've just been careful with money since taking over. No, that's not it. What do we think? Running a second business, performing at a rival club? Trying to think if we've seen anything that points to any of these. I mean, loan is surely it. You did get a loan. I know you can't believe that. You saw the rejection letters while you were snooping around my desk. We did. And what bank would want to give a loan to a failing business? So the question remains, who did give you a loan, and on what terms? You know what, I've had enough of this. I'm sorry, but it's been a very long day, and I'm still processing everything. And to have you two looking in every corner of my business, finding my failings, and then bringing me up on them, it's too much. Please, I'd like to ask you to leave, both of you. And when you're not actually with the cops, people can just do that. I mean, when you are actually with the cops, people can just do that. Sure. I'm sorry we've upset you. Did you find Fran? We did. But I think we upset her. I mean, the invasion of privacy and relentless interrogation will do that. Oh? What you done now? We just had some questions about our finances. I think we should probably give her a bit of space. I've pissed her off a few times over the years. Don't worry, she'll come around in time. Chet. Oh no, that's not him. Detective Cross, you're back. Yeah. Figure I should give Roz a lift back, since she so kindly helped with the investigation. This is great, but Ryan's going to be here any minute. Ryan, just what are you planning? Stay here, but listen in. I think you're about to hear something interesting. Any minute now. Anna, I'm confused. I don't understand what's happening. Get ready to record this, Scout. You're about to see the greatest performance of your life. How do I look? You look 84.2% of your best. I'll take it. Like, that's solid. If there's one thing I can rely on you for, it's painful accuracy. Honor. Shudder. Brian, you came. Is this going to be awkward as hell? I feel like probably. What did you want to talk about? Thanks for coming, Brian. It's just something I wanted to ask before I accept your offer. I've just pressed the wrong button and run an ad break. This is what happens when I try and press buttons while not looking at the same screen. I am a very intelligent human. So, we're not going to advance the plot for the next 3 minutes, because, yeah, I meant to hit snooze. The buttons are right next to each other, and also, I am a fool. So, we're going to enjoy this minor key, possibly, my music theory is bad, rendition of the main theme of the game, while we wait for 3 minutes, because the people who haven't subscribed would miss a bit, and nobody wants that. If you're watching this on the VOD, hi, I could cut this, I'm not going to. Because really, what the internet needs is more evidence of my failures. Because I mean, normally I'm just posting W's all over the place, so we've got to balance it out somewhere. Hope everybody is having a fine Tuesday. hope your weather is better than ours, which has been awful. But then, to be fair, I've been indoors and largely don't care. This is my life. This is some very chill wave music. I appreciate it deeply. Like, even if you didn't know the rest of the soundtrack, this is just a good tune. Put this in the background in a cafe. Accidental ad break's nearly done. And by break, I mean not actually break. Can't believe I did that. Who am I kidding? I can absolutely believe I did that. And frankly, anyone watching this, if you can't believe I did it, you haven't been watching these long enough. Because this is really on the low end of the times I've cocked up for tech. To be fair, though, a lot of those won't even be obvious to people who are watching the streams, because generally when I've cocked up that much, there haven't been streams. Come on, timer. You can do it. Have you considered advancing slightly faster? I'm being told that that would wreck the international concept of universal time. But hey, sucks to be those haters, because we finished the break. Hi, everybody who's watching this live and isn't a subscriber. I accidentally just ran an ad break and have just blathered for 3 minutes to everybody else instead. Let's get back to the scene, shall we?
I've got to admit, I was surprised to hear from you so soon. You weren't exactly receptive earlier.
I know, I'm sorry. I reacted badly, and I've been thinking about the job offer a lot. Keep it together, Scout. Anna, you didn't tell me you were going to accept the job. He's kidding. Just play along, Scout. Scout's face of, oh.
So, what did you want to ask me?
Ever since seeing you at the Starshine Awards, I've not been able to stop going over everything that happened between us. I think that's why I acted out earlier. I don't know what to think. I was angry at you for so long, but where do you think we went wrong?
Wow. That's quite a complicated question. We had a good few years, but to be honest, I just couldn't compete with your paranoia.
What? Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, you questioned everything. Came up with all these conspiracy theories about how I was trying to control you, trying to keep you away from your friends and family.
I mean, she does now have 2 red string corkboards in her room.
You were gonna quit the show, for us, so that we could spend more time together. And then suddenly one day you said I'd made you do it. All I was trying to do was be a good husband, keep you safe, stop you from making mistakes you come to regret.
You're right. For some reason I just couldn't accept that you were looking out for me. I thought you were selfish. And controlling. And arrogant. But I was wrong.
I'm happy you can admit that.
I know I can have problems with believing you, which is why if this has any future, I need to know that we're getting everything out, that we're starting from zero.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
So I want to ask you something, and please, if you can just be honest with me, I can move on, we can build on this. Did you have anything to do with me getting fired from the show?
What?
I know. This is the last thing standing in the way of us.
Why on earth would I want to get you fired?
Well, for the same reason you wanted Murder Mystery to be wiped from the Starshine Awards this year. To get back at me.
That was one mistake, Honor, and I've told you how sorry I am for doing that. So no, I didn't have anything to do with your firing. Why would you think I did?
Now the evidence for the big reveal. Where is the evidence for the big reveal? Which one is it? Ah, the awards photo, there we go. Recognize this?
Huh? Oh, this... Isn't this the photo you gave to your mom?
Yeah, they found it in the apartment of the guy that killed Blake.
That's... Huh. That's weird.
Also, when we searched Blake's office, we saw that he'd been blackmailed to fire me. The working hypothesis is that Frank went to do it, but something went wrong and he ended up accidentally killing Blake.
There's that imagination playing its tricks on you again.
I didn't come up with that theory, Detective Cross did.
He did, I see.
The thing is, this is the only copy of this photo, and Mum said she gave it to you.
Here we go again.
Anna, this is it, the performance of your career, your starshine moment. I know, and trust me, I'm working on it. I've even been having therapy. All I want is for you to tell me the truth. Then I can forgive you and we can start again.
Okay, fine, I wanted to get you fired, but I had no idea that it would end up in Blake getting killed. All I said was to scare him a little, that's it. Think I wanted to be involved in all this?
Said this to Tully, to Frank, himself.
No, I used a contact at a firm, Lethe or something. Honestly, Honor, you've got to believe me. I had no idea it would end up like this.
Okay. I believe you.
You know, you're right. We have to start fresh, and in a weird way, I'm glad I've finally been able to say it out loud. I feel kinda cleansed.
Oh, I'm very glad you've said it out loud.
Huh? What are you...
I was waiting for an and scene.
You didn't record me, did you? With that robot of yours? Even if you did, you know it's not admissible in court. California law requires both parties to consent.
Oh? Well, now who's paranoid? Don't worry, Ron. I didn't record you, mostly because I have something far more reliable. Very interesting, Mr. Blackstock. Very interesting indeed.
You... But I...
Ryan Blackstock, I'm arresting you for the murder of Frank Pritchell. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. But I'm guessing that won't be a problem for a Blackstock.
This is ridiculous. I didn't kill him.
Maybe not, but conspiracy charges are given. Maybe even without information. You're going away for a long time.
Hope you're happy, Honor. Enjoy being alone.
Bye, Ryan. Enjoy all your new company.
Ha. Don't worry about me with my lawyers. This will never stick.
Even so, at least now I know the depths to which you'll sink. I never want to see you again. Good work, Ms. Rahi. I'll get him down to the station right away. But what about this case? That can wait. Just get me back in the good books with the chief. I knew there was something fishy going on here, and this is proof. You stay here, keep looking for leads. Are you sure? You turning down the opportunity to be in charge. No, I didn't think you would. Just come find me down at the station once you've got something. And the Starshine for Best Actress goes to Anna. That was amazing. Turning Squat and Ryan back might have been my most difficult role to date, but it was worth it. I finally understand why humans sometimes say things that aren't true. This is a big discovery for me. I just can't believe he really did it. I guess part of me still wanted to trust him. Even if he didn't mean to get Blake killed, all of this happened because of him. My life got turned upside down. All because he wanted to punish me for escaping his control. I understand. But perhaps it might be helpful to think that some good came from it too. If you hadn't needed my help, then maybe we wouldn't be together now. You're right, Scout. You know, you're getting pretty good at this emotional support thing. Being around you and Casey has taught me more than just the alternative meaning of shade. Who'd have thought it? Me, a positive influence on someone. Not me, that's for sure. Anyway, Detective Cross put us in charge. We need to prove we can do this without him. Right. We should talk to Roz. Find out what happened at the station. And you know when we'll do that? It's next time. Because we have come to the end of another drama-packed episode of Murder by Numbers. I was half wondering if we could crash through episode 3 in one day. Turns out no. But yeah, this, I think, is where I leave you. So, once again, as ever, thank you all for being here. Thanks if you stayed to the end. It means a lot. Thanks for watching in general. If you have been watching this, you know where to find me. But just in case, this is twitch.tv/Serasent. That's Serasent, the House of Hubris. Streaming every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Normally at 2 PM GMT, which is 9 AM Eastern, 6 Pacific. Other time zones are available, as ever. More than an eighth of the world exists. Also, they tell me. I'm just saying words again. But if you want to know when I am live, because sometimes those times can vary a bit, like today, then why not throw us a follow, get notifications whenever I'm around. If you miss anything, VODs are on the Twitch for 8 weeks after the fact. For everything else, you can go to the YouTube. Link is down there, or that is youtube.com/@houseofhubris, where you can find everything going back to the very start of the channel. That's almost 2 years of content. There's a lot of games there, so there'll probably be something for you, and if there isn't, let me know what would be. While you're there, why not give us a subscription? Doesn't cost you anything, and gets hot, fresh VODs in your subscription feed every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, or at least it will once I am uploading again. We have been on a slight break because of all the whole medical hiatuses thing. Tell you, COVID into Christmas into surgery, not much fun for getting anything else done. And yeah, if you want to support me apparently just being deputized financially, then you can, of course, cheer or subscribe on Twitch, but you very much don't have to. Just turn up and hang out and be chill and be good to each other, and then everyone's having a good time. If you want to find me elsewhere on the internet, my Twitter is down there, or that is, again, at House of Hubris, where you can find me doing all the regular things one does with a Twitter, i.e. memes and shouting into the void, but also stream updates and things of that ilk. Yeah. And I think that is your lot. I don't think I missed any bits of the wrap-up, but, you know, I always feel like there's something. Okay, so, yes, once again, thank you all, love you all. We will be back on Thursday for more Murder by Numbers, when we will find out that Fran absolutely did this for the insurance money, and the guy was killed as an accident. Yeah. Love you all, and I will see you again on Thursday. Bye.